What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? This is going to be your review of 20s Season 1, Episode 3. I'm a little behind, but we're going to go ahead and get caught up today because what else we got going on, right? Stuck in the house. Let's go. Let's go. So, I'm really digging this show, you guys. Like I told you guys last week, I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about it. I wasn't sure if it was my judge because of the age bracket and all that good stuff. But I can really, even though Hattie be on some extra stuff sometimes, I can't actually relate to Hattie when I was in my 20s. I wasn't quite as much of a slacker as I would call Hattie, but I definitely had my moments of it's all the world's fault, nothing is my fault. Why doesn't the world just give me a break? I'm out here working and trying, but I'm really not working hard enough. We'll get to it. So this episode is all about Hattie trying to find a place to write and work. And as someone who's been working on a book for more years than I care to share with y'all, I definitely understand that writer's block, trying to find a space, trying to find a moment, and feeling like everything is in between. So Hattie's looking for a space. She starts off that morning. She's at the coffee shop. And just like most of us, we overlook the obvious. The obvious is that this young lady at the coffee shop is digging Hattie. She's feeling her, and she kind of likes her a little bit. And so they kind of have a moment about understanding that both of them are writers. And we found out that this young lady actually writes for a local newspaper or something. And Hattie was like, well, I mean, if you have a job writing, why are you working here at the Starbucks? And she was like, well, when was the last time you picked up a newspaper? She was like, point valid. Hattie goes from, then she's at the house that she's got evicted, so she's sharing Marie's couch right now. And she had the nerve to get indignant because Marie's boyfriend is making too much noise in the kitchen. Now, part of me feels like he was doing it on purpose because I really feel like he don't want her to get comfortable. Like, I feel you, we all good, we all friends, and I don't want to see you on the street. But what I don't want is for you to get too comfortable here. And so, Hattie tells him how she signed up for this screenwriters class, this online class. Honey, she even using his email. See, this is where she go too far. She using his email so she could get his trial because she done ran out her free trial. Now, we've all done that. That's sort of equivalent to, y'all work with me now, when I was in my 20s, the using somebody else's email to get the free trial stuff and moving from email to email, that is the equivalent of the Columbia House DVDs. Y'all remember them Columbia House CDs, DVDs? You pay a penny and you get like 15 CDs for a penny, but then the next 5 years, you paying like $30 for a CD that you could have got down to the Circuit City for $12. I'm telling my age a lot right now. But everybody listening know what I'm talking about. I would say about 80% of y'all watching this video still owe Columbia House some money. Y'all know y'all do. Y'all know y'all do. But Hattie, so of course she can't get any rest there. So then she goes to the park, honey. She's finally she's taking pictures. She posting on Instagram. And, Maria's like, more work, less posting. Next thing you know, here come the kids getting on the nerves, so that doesn't work. So then she goes to the library, and she ends up sitting next to a dude who has some questionable thoughts about women and, make America great again. And he said he worked on his manifesto, and she very smartly got the hell out the library. Then she ends up back at the coffee shop. And so old girl writes her a little note and says, when I have writer's block with things, when I'm getting a little, it helps me to write longhand. Maybe you should try doing your screen longhand. Of course, Hattie at first is like, who writes longhand? But when she takes out her notebook and she starts writing, she was like, you know what? It's actually kind of working for me. And I'm going to be honest. And again, I've been working on this book longer than I care to share with y'all. But that's how I started writing my book. I started writing my book in longhand. And I would write pages and pages and pages. And then I would just come home and I would type. And when I went to just straight typing, I'm going to try that. I'm going to try going back to just sitting down with my notebook and writing. Because it just seems to, anyway, yeah, that's me. We're talking about me. Let's get back to this. Talking about Hattie. Now, that's what's going on with Hattie. We're going to get back to Miss Hattie in a minute. Miss Marie. Marie is playing politics. Her company was just merged with another company. Luckily, she was on the plus side of that because, you know, whenever there's a merger, you never know if your company is going to be on the plus side or the minus side. So luckily, she's not losing her job. However, her boss got a promotion and he said, look, my job is up for grabs. And basically, at this point, all y'all are going to have to stab each other in the back to get my job. Let me know how that works out for y'all. And Marie is her, and it's one other black guy that's in the company. Lord, I couldn't get it out. And who's the friend we met last week who bought the date to the birthday dinner? And you know, Marie's kind of like, I hate the fact that we're going to be competing, you know, the two black people in the company going to be competing against each other for this promotion, What I found interesting is that, and maybe this is me being a pessimist, I'm not sure, but what was really interesting to me was the fact that Marie actually thought she had a chance of winning that position. And I know that the guy was saying, oh, we want to show more inclusion and we want to do this and do that. But at the end of the day, you and the black man are the only two minorities even vying for this position. I think it's black. It never even occurred to me that you thought you could win it. And I'm not saying she won't. I'm just saying maybe that's my mindset. I wouldn't, and maybe that's me selling myself short. So her boyfriend actually was really nice. He bought her a bunch of self-help books to help her kind of get that confidence to figure out what she can do to try to woo the clients. Because it's the one particular guy, former professional, I think, football player or basketball player who's now making movies, and they're trying to woo him and that kind of thing. But oh boy, the other dude in the office with her, he's playing dirty. You know he's playing dirty. You know, he done bought game tickets for the other, you know, for the bosses and stuff like that, and of course not inviting her, telling them, oh, she's busy, oh, Marie, she can't come, Marie's busy, and didn't even ask Marie. Now there was a great scene at the end of this. They're at a party at the end, and that's when Marie finds out that old boy been kind of double crossing her and been kind of going behind her back a little bit. And so she said, you know, I've been reading this really great book about the United States and Vietnam, and you know, what was interesting is that the United States didn't lose Vietnam because they weren't better than them. They lost Vietnam, or going with the Viet Cong, because they underestimated their enemy. See, the United States was playing a ground game, and the Viet Cong were underground. They were building tunnels. You know, they thought that because they were the big bad United States, they couldn't be beat. And they underestimated, and that is how, you know, she went through this. Anyway, I was about to go history with y'all because, yo, she went deep. And I was like, yes, girl. But she let him know. She said, you are now the United States, and I am your Viet Cong. Let the games begin. I said, you know, that's right. But just as that happened, she turned around and she was feeling herself. She was smiling, honey. She was in her moment. And then she sees her boyfriend exchanging phone numbers with one of the wait staff at the party. Now, have we gotten any vibe that she's worried about her boyfriend being bisexual or anything like that? Did I miss that in episodes 1 and 2? Let me know if I missed it. So, Nia, the third friend, we get a little more information about her. We found out that she was a child actor, and she sort of stepped away from it because she said when she got old enough that she could drive, her mother stopped taking her auditions. And she said, I guess I just wasn't as passionate about it as I thought I was, because I stopped going and I just stopped doing it, and I just kind of got a regular job and went on about my business. And the guy she met the week before at the little conservatory that don't have a phone, now he sells weed. So he's a photographer / drug dealer. And they're talking, and he said, you know, I never understand that. People who have found their passion and refuse to walk in their destiny. And I was like, oh, Lord, here we go. And she was like, well, you know, I'm not going to say, she said, I love acting. You know, I feel alive when I'm acting, but, you know, it's hard, and it's this and it's that. And he was like, well, you know, things, you know, sometimes things that are worth fighting for are hard. And so then she said, well, you know, all of us can't afford to go after our passion. He said, sometimes you can't afford not to. And I was like, message. So later, she's at the same party at the end of the episode, and she runs into somebody she used to be, going auditions with, and they did a commercial or two together. And this young lady quit acting, went to college, went to grad school, and now she's in corporate. And she kind of got a little snippy with the girl. And I was like, the girl, why you come for that girl like that? The girl said something about not wanting to, something about not wanting to do acting because it's too hard, or it's too, that lifestyle is just too unstable, or something to that effect. And she says, well, I'd rather do that than have a stuffy corporate job. And I'm like, dang, why you coming for that girl like that? She didn't do nothing to you. So last but not least, we see Miss Hattie. She ends up picking up the dry cleaning for Ida. And Ida B is sitting there writing, and Hattie's like, oh my gosh, how do you find your quiet place and this, that, and the other. And she was like, girl, what are you listening to? Ain't no quiet place. She said, writing isn't a hobby for me. Writing is my job. I got to get this done. Because she said something about she had missed dinner. And Hattie was like, I don't never want to be so busy that I miss dinner. She said, well, you don't want to be successful. Like, this is what it is, boo. This is the grind. This is what we do. And so then she says, well, she said, well, if you want to write, you can stay here. I'm going to be here all night. You can stay here and write. And she was like, well, nah, I really got this party I got to get to. And I'm thinking to myself, Hattie, wrong move. Like, you should have made up something else. I got to go take care of my grandmama. My mama called me. I got to go run an errand for her. But don't sit here and tell her that you are passing up an opportunity to work up under her to go to a party. And you saw it on Ida's face. Like, her whole face fell. And she was like, well, we all have our priorities, huh? And I think Hattie picked up on it, but at that point, it was already too late. She put her foot in her mouth, kind of thing. So she ends up going to the party, the same party where all of them are at. But she ends up leaving because she was like, the party's kind of whack. Because at this point, I know now she's like, I shouldn't have come. I should have stayed. But instead, now what I would have done is gone back. And I would have told Ida, you know what, you were right. Like, I realized that you're right. I would have let her know. I changed my mind. I realized that I was put my priorities in the wrong order. She didn't do that. She went to the Starbucks. And then the girl called. The little girlfriend that drives the Mercedes from the first episode, when she got put out the house, she was dropping her off. She calls and want to go to Santa Barbara for the weekend. And at first Hattie says, no, I got to stay here. I got to work. I got this, I that. And she was like, well, you need to get away sometime, and I'm just trying to get you away and help you. And honey, Hattie ended up going away with her child. So we'll see how that goes. But it's interesting to see how these characters are starting to develop. And there's some stories here, honey, and some backstories that we didn't see on the front end. All right? Y'all let me know what y'all think. Drop it in the comments. Peace.